Hey everybody, Rune Guidance of the Norse here. I wanted to talk to you for a moment regarding egregores. Now, egregores are defined as a spiritual entity or energy that has been created by an eclectic consciousness and sort of put into what we perceive as a reality. This is a form of something that is found in Western esotericism. So it's more of a modern, maybe even, dare I say, new agey concept, or at least that is a group that is acknowledging the existence of such entities. So what do I mean by that gobbledygook and all that terminology? An egregore is almost something that starts to have an impact on people's spiritual consciousness, and it was created by their spiritual consciousness. So let's take the idea of the Christian Bible's Satan. That's a perfect egregore example. While Lucifer might have been a fallen angel, supposedly, or there are other names like Beelzebub or demonic things that at one time Christians associated as being the devil or Satan, it has morphed into something else in our modern times. And so there's no such thing as that, but at the same time, it is a very real presence in many Christians' thoughts and minds. And as I always say, even if something is imaginary, if it affects you and your spiritualness and your physical body and your life, then it's sort of real to you and has very real consequences. Real people died because they were perceived as working with this imaginary egregoric figure, Satan. People were killed, burned at the stake, murdered because, oh, you're a witch, you are a worker of Satan, where that person might have been like, oh my God, I don't even believe in that. Doesn't matter, had very real consequences, didn't it? So egregores are very powerful things that are not to be taken lightly. Why I'm bringing this up to you right now in this month of December is because of the big holiday, Christmas. There are different Jesuses. The kind, loving, spiritual healer teacher that I knew of or was taught of if I went to the local Methodist church in my town is not the same Jesus that you see right-wing nationalists worshiping. They have in fact created another type of Jesus, this warrior Jesus that's going to come back with his flaming eyes, riding on a white horse and kick ass. Likewise, we see different interpretations of different beings who are known, varying in different locales. So, for instance, the Swedish Thor is not necessarily who Thor is in America. The collective consciousness image of Thor is very much Marvel character induced, and the Swedish Thor is not. So is Thor? Is there only one? So these are things to think about at this time of year when we have these different type of images and how we perceive things differently. I reject this nationalistic type of Christianity. It's very different from Christianity that I was familiar with as a child, but also even that was egregoric. In other words, even any influence of Christianity that I knew of as a child probably absolutely had nothing to do with the early Christian church. And that probably didn't even have that much to do with who Jesus even was, if he was even real. If he was even real, he probably was a healer, energetic worker, sage person who was like, hey man, the kingdom of God is within you. You don't need to look outward to some power to help you, outward to some deity to affect you. You have it already within you. And isn't that the teaching of animism? If you look at very early interpretations of translations of what Jesus actually said, if he in fact actually said it, somebody said it. It was somebody's philosophy back then. They were basically saying, yo, hey, we don't have to follow all these rules. It's about what's inside. It's about equality within. It's about loving someone like you would love yourself. It's about caring and helping and all those things that we kind of like guffaw off and say, oh, that's ridiculous. That was the message of whoever that person was had at the time. And if that person was killed, that is probably why they were killed, because that goes against the power structure and authority at the time. It went against the power structure of what was already there at the time in place religiously, and it went also against the people that wanted to hijack that and make that philosophy take over and be in power, because it still wasn't vibing with that. It was radical and it was rebelling against it, but it wasn't actually taking control the way they wanted to take control. So that's absolutely how I'm sure they were like, well, we got to get rid of him, kill him. So anyway, think about these things, all right? Think about who it is you are actually honoring. Even with your Norse deities, even with your other deities. This is why in trolldom, this is why in animism, and for me, trolldom is an offshoot of animism. It's just a more specific practice. This is why relationship is everything. And it's the one word, if you had to take away from me, would be relationship, building relationships. Because when you have a relationship with something, you know who they are. You know who they are. You know, there's even a Bible verse that Jesus said, those that the Father have given to me, they know me. They know my voice. The sheep that I'm given, they know me. They know my voice. Yeah, and they know that what they're hearing around now ain't your voice, because it's full of hate. So whether Jesus was real or not, whether somebody had this philosophy of this animistic view that the kingdom is within you, the power is within you. You don't need to look outside to some other thing for it. Now, we build relationships with things, and we can ask things for help, just like you ask friends for help, or parents for help, or others for help. We ask ancestors for help. We ask these deic figures for help. We ask spirits for help. There's nothing wrong with that. But it's this whiny type of demanding, I am scum and you are, that's not relationship. That's toxicity. If that was a partnership you had with someone, we would say, leave that person. Ain't good. So anyway, think about these things as we're in this holiday season of Yule, where very much spiritual activity takes place, and also culturally, and particularly in the West, we have Christmas celebrations that, whether or not they have any religious connotation to you, they are part of our cultural observance. So think about that and put your comments in the comment section. Okay, love you guys. Take care. Talk soon.